If you have not seen Titanic yet, I don't know where you've been. Well, it is the #1 movie for 4 straight weeks, setting all kinds of Hollywood records. And today, James Cameron, the mastermind who wrote it, produced it, and directed it, is going to let us in on some of the amazing secrets behind the making of Titanic. Because when you were watching, wasn't you like, how are those people in the water? And they're cold. Are they going to freeze in the water? Do they have enough life jackets for everybody? My first guest plays the miserable beauty Rose, who boards the Titanic, engaged to an overpossessive rich guy, but before tragedy hits, she falls way overboard for that kind of carefree romantic Leonardo DiCaprio. Just say his name and 50-year-old women swoon. Okay, take a look at one of the all-time best screen kisses. It's the historical. There's already a lot of talk about a Best Actress Oscar nomination. Kate Winslet is here! Kate is here! Kate is here! Kate is here! Kate is here! I'm right up here. Right there. Oh, thank you so much. Okay, and they got, when you did, we were just looking at that great kissing scene where you're, I'm flying. Did you, when you saw that, or when you were doing that scene, did you think that it was going to become one of the great, kisses of all time?
Well, you don't ever really think ahead. I mean, right. I try and say sort of so much, in the moment and everything. I mean, certainly on paper and in the screenplay, we knew it was a very, important and passionate moment.
So you knew it?
So we knew it. But it didn't sort of, to be honest with you, at the time, it was all a bit of a rush, and we had to do it in lots of kind of chopped up little bits.
How much time did you spend making this movie?
7 months. It was a 7-month shoot, yes, in the end. But there was a lot of kind of preparation time for me back home in England before I went to start the shoot, with sort of getting into the dialects and also understanding what it was like to be an upper-class girl at the age of 17 in 1912 in Philadelphia. I mean, I don't even know what it's like to be an English girl at that time in an upper-class society, so that for me was quite a sort of a struggle at first. And
really?
Then,
what kind of stuff did you do to prepare?
Well, I did a lot of...
I'm thinking it's fun to be upper-class.
Well, it is, but the thing is, I'm sort of not really like that, and so for me, my favourite scene in the movie and my favourite scene to shoot was the steerage party.
Oh, really?
Because I grew up with that kind of music. I mean, my parents were quite sort of...
Oh, that's when you're dancing and you go down on their deck.
Yeah, that was my sort of highlight moment. Yeah, this is it. I mean, we had such a fantastic time.
Did you shoot that for days? Wow.
I think it was a day or a couple. I think it was a day actually, a very long day. But
just doing that scene.
Yeah, but also all the dancers were professional dancers, and I tell you, there's nothing more exciting than dancing with a proper professional dancer. And so everyone was just really sort of up to it, and the music was great, and it was really wonderful. That's your favourite. That's my favourite scene.
Okay. What about when you all are in the back of when you are like making out and the steam comes on the windows?
Oh, like that scene?
Yeah, like that scene.
Oh, right, okay. So, no, that scene, actually, I have to say, was probably one of the most uncomfortable scenes.
Yeah.
Because it was a tiny little space.
Yeah.
And we had all this kind of...
Everybody who's ever done it in a backseat knows it's not.
Yeah.
It's not the nicest place in the world.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
So, this was, this was kind of difficult too. And we had lots of sort of glycerin all over our skin to sort of make us look sweaty and things. But now, fluff sticks to glycerin. We were covered in fluff. Leo had had my makeup on him, I had his makeup on me, our legs were very kind of tangled up, and my arm went dead at
Where's
one
the
point.
camera in that shot?
Oh, I can't even remember. It was sort of wedged into some strange position, and it was those scenes do become so...
No, this is my favorite line in that scene. I just thought of it. Oh, we were watching it together when you said, put your hands on me.
Put your hands on me.
That's my new line. Anyway, okay, so that was cumbersome, that scene.
Well, it was. I mean, believe it or not. And then when I finally saw it, I sat there and went, oh, we look really sort of sweet and lovely and very kind of comfortable. And we really actually
We're not. Okay.
No, but we did have fun. I mean, that was the great thing. Leo and I always had a laugh together. We always got on incredibly well. And there was never...
It was 7 months.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I was like, probably all the women in this audience are about Leonardo DiCaprio. Initially, I thought, oh, how am I going to work with this beautiful man who's such a brilliant actor? And I met him, and he's so lovely and down-to-earth and normal and so good at what he does. But it was actually never about that. It was a real brother-sister thing. We were very, very, very close and really stuck together.
Really? And
yeah.
we have to.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the scene, where the gate closes and you're behind the gate and the water's coming.
That was pretty frightening.
Was it frightening?
Well, it was a little bit, just because we were so sort of involved with what was going on, and the water's rushing in, and there's explosions going off all over the place, and water currents underneath.
Okay, when you are walking through that water, because you never know, we're going to find out later with James what's real. So the water really is up to your waist as you're walking through the water?
Yes.
I'm one of those people when people don't want to go to the movies with them going, turn the corner, Rose!
I know.
The water's on the stairwell, Rose!
I know. Well, there's a reaction I said is on screen, which was a genuine reaction, because Jim had always said to me, water's going to be pretty cold down there, and you could feel it in the air as well. It was very damp. And I come to the bottom of the stairs, and there the water is, and I'm thinking, I've just got to get in. So I get in, and it really was, and it was absolutely freezing. But to be honest with you, I don't think I would have had it any other way. And I remember saying to him, please don't heat the water, because it would have felt uncomfortable.
You've got to act like the water is
exactly like the water is cold, and all the shivering. It just helped to have it being freezing. And it would have been much colder for them. Really warm in 1912. So.
It is extraordinary. We're going to be talking to, in a few minutes, James Cameron, who directed it, wrote it, produced the whole thing. Everything did. Everything did.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Could you believe when it was happening that it was going to be this big?
Well, I always knew that I was part of something that was very, very special. And everybody there, all the extras, all the crew members, all the Mexicans, they were so excited to be there.
And that's why down in Baja, Mexico.
It was, yeah, and that's why...
Because y'all were going, Mexicans, I didn't see it. People going, Mexicans!
No, I'm sorry, yes,
okay.
it was
shot in Baja, Mexico,
there,
where they built the whole set, yeah.
Studios and everything. So there were a lot of Mexican crew members, and really the atmosphere was so great because everyone was so excited about it, and just looking around you all the time and learning so much.
Oh, speaking of an upper-class girl, I mean, that outfit, did you keep the outfit when you first entered the boat with the big blue hat and that whole...
No, I didn't.
That is, give me that hat, Miss Rose.
I know, it was very, very nice.
Costuming, fantastic.
It was really, really beautiful and really fun to wear, and also really helped as well, because, with a corset, it's so uncomfortable, but I'm very sort of used to wearing corsets now from other things that I've done. But it does help, because the posture then was very sort of poised and upright, and it really did make a difference. But, I was ready to burn that corset at the end of it. I really was. I was.
Okay. Up next, he's the man who did everything. He gave up his multi-million-dollar salary to keep the Titanic afloat. Director James Cameron is here to tell us about the making of the most expensive movie of all time. Be back to talk to him. Surreal. Yeah. Okay. Now, when he's drawn, I love that shot. Okay. Now, when he is drawing and all the beautiful sketches.
Right.
That's not real.
No, that's a real drawing, but that's not Leonardo drawing.
He did the sketch. He did
that's
it.
your hand and your sketching.
That's my hand, right.
He did the sketch.
Okay. Thank you. All right.
Beautiful.
But see, Leonardo's right-handed and I'm left-handed.
And so, how did you do that?
I had to draw the
that's
drawing.
your hand.
That's Leonardo.
That's it, of course, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that was me.
And that's here.
That's Kate.
Okay, we just have a hand shot a minute ago.
There,
That's your hand.
That's my 43-year-old hand there, trying to pretend to be 20.
Wow. Do you have a favorite scene?
I like the scene at the bow where they kiss for the first time, which you were talking about earlier.
You did?
Yeah, just because it's one of those moments that is just magical. You know, the gods of cinema smiled on us and gave us a beautiful sunset. And Kate was jumping up and down.
That was the sunset,
That was
right?
a real sunset.
Okay.
Real dolphins, real sunset.
Okay, because I was thinking, this is a great sunset, but you never know. They could have made it. Yeah, it's a real sunset.
Yeah.
It was fabulous.
I know when I saw it, I said, that's the poster shot.
I was too preoccupied with the sunset,
Right.
and we didn't have time. The cameras were
It's a real sunset. It's going
We
down.
had 8 minutes to shoot that shot, and Kate was standing up on the bow of the ship screaming at me, shoot, shoot, it looks beautiful. I mean, I've never heard an actor say, shoot, shoot. I mean, I'm not ready, you know.
Okay, so you shot the wide shot, the side angles, all of you must have lots of...
Oh, we did so
No,
many times.
it was the one beautiful shot where she puts her arms out and he kisses her. It's cut up, you know, into several shots. And then, of course, the wide shot is a digital effect shot that took 6 months.
Okay.
You know, but we knew what it was going to look like. We knew what the sky was going to look like because we had this great sort of 8-minute...
I'm so happy to know it was the real sun, James.
It was so stunning. I can't tell you. It really was. It was dreamlike.
Were you all afraid in the water sometimes? And how cold was the water? I know that a lot of
Cold, wasn't it?
I think it's the scientific term.
Did you make up breath, though?
Yeah, we added breath. It wasn't because it wasn't freezing. It was, I think the water was 50 degrees or something like that. But yeah, it was pretty cold.
That's cold enough.
But in the scene where we added the breath, you know, sort of toward the end, the water was like 80 degrees.
It was, yeah, it was very
That was warm in that scene.
So was that a tank they're in?
Yeah.
How many tanks did we have? We had
Many.
Yeah, we did have many.
And are you actually on the driftwood?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I know, because before I had seen it, my best friend Gail called me. Gail, who was so hysterical during the movie, her 11-year-old daughter said, "Mom, it's going to be okay." Called us. I said, "Well, you know, I hear there's a lot of special effects." This is before I'd seen it. I said, "So maybe she's really not on the driftwood." And Gail says, "I don't want to know if she's on it, but you were on the driftwood."
Yeah.
In the water.
Yeah, absolutely. Holding Leo's hand and getting through all that together. It was tough, actually. It
That was
really
a tough day. That was a tough day for you. I
It was my
remember
21st birthday. Do you remember that?
That's right.
It was my 21st birthday, and I remember I told Leo during one of the texts, Leo, my birthday today. And he said, I really don't care.
It's my close-up. It's later. It's my close-up.
Well, there's been a lot of press. What's your favorite scene, Billy?
Perhaps the most memorable was the spitting sequence, I think.
Was it?
That was all my idea.
Really? That's after the unimaginable basket.
Yeah. It was the most humbling experience I think I could imagine. No, we did this 27 times.
Yeah.
Surely. And I mean, that
Kate got better each time, so I didn't want to stop. She was like getting so good.
You did do it a lot.
we did it a lot. She got a little dry at a point, at which point someone thought of the brainchild of including a little assistance by means of KY. So I had I had all sorts of...
And that night they'd run in just before Jim would yell action, and this blob of KY jelly on my tongue.
It was pretty brutal. But the problem is there was like 400 people standing around watching this, between takes, and it was 27 times. It was like, I don't know, some kind of like est retreat or something. It was very...
He was a trooper, though. I could see him sort of closing down. Like, after the first few takes, he was kind of like, okay, boss, how many times are we going to do this?
Spit again.
Yeah, right.
Now,
But she got better each time.
The question I wondered, and a lot of people ask, some people have been asking around my office, would you have gotten for True Love? Would you have gotten off the boat, off the lifeboat, and gotten back onto the Titanic?
For True Love.
For True Love.
I would have done.
You would have done.
Yeah.
How many of you think you would have done that?
I don't see a lot of male hands going up.
I'm like, you're on the lifeboat, honey. Just move on out.
No. If I had ever been, I don't think I have, but if I had been as in love with Jack as Rose was with Jack, there's no way I would have wanted to go it alone. Even if he was going to die, I would have wanted to die with him.
And somebody did that, the wife of Isidore Strauss, Ida Strauss, said, you know, I've been with you for 40 years, and where you go, I go. And she knew she was going to die, and she got out of the lifeboat and got back on the ship.
Wow.
So there's a historical precedent for
But
that
these
moment.
characters, Billy's characters, Kate's characters, of course, Leonardo, they're all fixed, those are all in your head.
Yeah, they're made up.
Amazing. Bringing the Titanic. Amazing. Was that a real axe you used?
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, really?
Look, yeah, in fact,
The rubber one when you did the hit.
There was a rubber one. We did one shot.
I know, because I said, I said to somebody, I was watching the movie, I said, tell me his hand's not going to fall off in the water. That is not what I want to go through right now. Tell me he's not going to, a hand is now not going to fall off into the water. We got to deal with that. Well,